all. I wanted to make a quick video to talk about some things I'd like you to work on as you're finalizing your paper and getting ready to submit it. Okay. The first thing is I want to make sure that you're kind of cleaning up the document. So basically what that means is you can go ahead and get rid of all of the instructions. Okay. You can resolve all of your comments. So you just have to click that little check mark here, and that'll hide that comment. Okay. If for some reason you want to bring that comment back because, I don't know, maybe it's something that you wanted to address, you can always find them here and you can reopen the comment and it'll show back up on your paper. Okay. But I just want you to make sure that before you submit them at 11 o'clock, that you're getting rid of all of that because I don't want to see the comments anymore. I just want to make sure that I'm just reading your paper. Okay. You can also get rid of the labels that you have for each of the paragraphs. So you don't need, that paragraph 1, paragraph 2 conclusion label. Okay. You'll also want to get rid of any highlighting or underlining or any kind of other markings that you've done on the text. So it should just look, right, just like an essay. Okay. You also want to make sure that you include a title. Okay. And as we talked about in class, your title is going to be something that indicates your topic, your argument. Okay. You're not going to title your paper Literacy Synthesis or Application Assignment 1. Okay. So you want to have something that hints at the point that you're making. Okay. The other thing about the titles at the top of the page is that you don't need to do anything special. Okay. They should not be like bold or underlined or anything. You just want to make it the same text, the same font as the rest of your paper. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was your reference page. Okay, so references, if you're following along with those guidelines from the handouts, the reference title, right, will be centered on the page. Okay, and you'll want to make sure that the references start on a new page. So you wouldn't want to start the reference like it is right here at the end of your paper, right after the conclusion. Okay. One of the things that I know that you might do is just kind of hit enter. So you get the reference down on the next page. Okay. So that works. But if you make any changes, let's just say you add some content, that's going to push your reference page down. So it's not going to then be at the top of the page. Okay. So instead of kind of tabbing it down, I'm going to recommend that you go to the references, the beginning of your references title, and you go to insert, go down to break, and hit page break. Okay. That will put references at the top of the page. So if you were then to go and make some other changes and edit it and add some more content, as you'll see right here, it didn't move like it did before. Okay, so it stays at the top of that page. The other thing about your reference pages is the hanging indent. Okay, so most citation styles use some form of a hanging indent. I know APA does, MLA does. And basically what that means is the very first line is flush with that left-hand margin. And then subsequent lines are tabbed over. Okay. I'm going to guess that many of you probably go down to that second line and hit tab. So you can see my cursor right now is right next to the 165. So if I hit tab, it actually goes up and it tabs over Brant. Okay, so it moves up a line and tabs over. So that can get kind of frustrating because then you're tabbing and hitting enter and like doing a bunch of things. And it's so much easier to use the tools for Google Drive. So you can highlight your entries, go up to format, align and indent, and then you're going to want to choose indentation options. Okay, and that'll bring up this box. So you'll click on Special Indent and select Hanging. And then you can do 0.5 because generally the indentations, the hanging indents, the subsequent lines are a half an inch over. So you can put 0.5 and hit apply. Okay, and that'll automatically, as you can see, keep the first line flush and move the second and third lines, if there is third lines, over a half an inch. So it's much easier than having to do all the tabbing for all the different ones. Okay, and then you'll also want to make sure that your reference list is double spaced. Okay, and then you'll get rid of the spaces between the sources. Okay, so I want you to kind of get into the habit of double spacing that reference list. You do not have to double space your paper if you don't want to. Okay, you can just format it in some way like this if you'd like. Okay, so hopefully you found those couple tips, especially the page break and the hanging indent tool in Google Drive, helpful.